Well, hello again everybody. Well, the postman called today. I don't know if we're going to find this exciting or not because we've seen one of these before. I don't think I should reveal exactly what we've got. I think I should just tease you for a bit longer. So I'm just gonna tease you all, and yeah, feel free to jump in at any point you realise what it is. So it's a rather substantial grey box, handle on top, some form of carry case. It's made by Hewlett-Packard. What else can we see? Oh, and it's got some connectors on the side here. So it's got the standard Euro style connector, nice on off switch, and we've got a couple of connectors on the side, one of which says RS232. So could this be some more RS232 goodness? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Well, as you guys are already aware, I hate dirty old equipment, so what we'll do is we'll give this a little bit of a polish up first and take it from there. Probably don't want to squirt cleaner into the plug end, do we? I kind of wonder a little bit why we have these foam cleansers. I think the fact that it foams, does it actually do anything? I'm not convinced it does, to be honest. I'll probably say a big hello to one of my newer subscribers, which is Wayne and Nina. And so hello Wayne and Nina, big hello from me. I'm saying hello to them because I've been having a conversation with Nina, or I thought I'd been having a little naughty conversation with Nina, but it turns out I've actually been speaking to Wayne, because Wayne very naughtily just nicks his girlfriend's laptop because he hasn't got one of his own at the moment. But I'm not sure I'd use my girlfriend's. That could definitely get you into some trouble there, Wayne. So if I were you, I would invest in a laptop sooner rather than later, because I can just see that ending badly. It seems to have these very substantial rubber feet on it, and I don't know why it's got such substantial rubber feet on it. So maybe we'll find out. And I'm not just saying that; I genuinely don't know. Well, have you all guessed what it is yet? I suspect that you have. Let's pop the cover off and have a look. And what we've got here is another Hewlett-Packard, and it's a 37732A, and it's a Datacom Analyzer. Now, I'm assuming that this actually does pretty much the same thing as the other one did, but I've got no idea. But the main reason I got this is because it's got lots more LEDs on it, and more LEDs is better than less LEDs, isn't it? That's always good. So talking about those LEDs, it seems to have like a status indicator panel here where it seems to flash up. It says, well, let's see what they say. Signal present, you get a green LED. Signal loss, a red. AIS. I used to know what AIS was. What does AIS mean? Maybe I'm thinking of some kind of plane landing system, AIS. I don't know, I can't remember. Frame loss, CRC, frame loss. CAS, frame loss, pattern loss, error, OC test loss, remote alarm, remote mainframe alarm. We can show history, we can reset. Got some, I wonder what sort of connectors they are. I was going to say we've got some BNC connectors on the front. They do look a lot like BNC connectors, but they haven't got the bayonet type fixing on it. So yeah, I wonder what sort of connectors they are. I bet Simon will know the answer to that. He seems to be a bit of an expert on test equipment connectors. I don't think I've got anything that'll fit them. Does a BNC fit? No, don't know what they are. So I haven't really managed to find a lot of information on this, but apparently these connectors on the front are called Siemens connectors, and I don't really know what to describe them of. I think I said earlier they look a lot like a BNC, but they don't have the the barb on them. They don't have the bayonet fixing. Or they look a lot like a female BNC. I mean, I thought they looked a lot like, I don't know what this type of connector is. I have a huge box of connectors. Whenever I buy a piece of test equipment, I always keep hold of it. And I thought these might fit because these have got a collar around them and some spring inside and also a threaded section. And I thought that might push on, but it doesn't. What else have we tried? Yeah, again, at first I thought it might be a TNC fitting, but again, it's not a TNC. So I haven't actually got anything that will plug into these clock in and clock outs. And again, the only other interesting thing about these is, again, just the impedance, that they are 75 ohms, and I'm guessing that, you know, that was probably one of the coaxial cable impedances that was used when we used to connect these computers together back in the day. So I'm just going through my box of connectors here, and because I'm more interested in radio type equipment, I don't really have computer stuff, which I think this is probably what it is, some form of, you know, computer data connector. I mean, that looks a bit like it there, this N-type 2 something, but again, this is a TNC, so that will fit that. But yeah, I haven't got anything that will fit these, what I believe are called Siemens sockets. Yeah, so I think that might leave us a bit stumped for actually plugging anything into there. Not that I suspect we would have found anything anyway, it's just given all the hundreds of connectors that I seem to have, I'm surprised I don't have something that will fit, because you know, I do have a lot of RF connectors. Now, I've even been rooting around in my drawer of despair, and again, nothing. What's that? That looks a little bit like it, but it's, yeah, clearly the wrong size. Don't know what that is. What's that? No, that's a Bellingly connector. TNC. Don't know what you call that. It's not TNC, I don't think. Or is it TNC? That's sort of connectors that you get on the back of satellite dish boxes. Yeah, I don't know what you call that. Is that a TNC? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, so basically the upshot of all this rooting round in the drawer of despair. Well, again, despair, because I haven't got one. I haven't got anything that'll fit. But I think that's the fact I haven't got anything that'll fit is, you know, interesting in itself. Look at that one. We looked at that one. Yeah, let's try that again. No, that doesn't fit. Actually, I have got one more drawer of despair. Let's have a look in the tertiary drawer of despair. Oh, didn't know I had that in there. Trench lighter. Yeah, this is just more of the same. Nobody could really accuse me of being lacking in connectors. I do seem to have an annoying amount. So I would be grateful if any of my subscribers who know a little bit more about this type of equipment, and you know, in particular these Siemens connectors, if you could let me know a little bit more about them. I mean, I'd love to know, you know, what they were really designed for and what types of equipment they were used for back in the day. I mean, this piece of equipment isn't that old. I mean, it's showing, oh God, am I showing my age? I'm saying it's not that old, 1989 to 92, I think it's listed on here. I mean, that's like yesterday, isn't it? Isn't that like 2 weeks ago, 1992? I'm sure it is. And we've also got some push buttons on the front. We've got a settings button, an auto setup, results, graphs, other. Let's have a look on the side. Well, I'm going to make a guess that this cable is relatively short, so I think it's a fair guess that this cable is going to plug into here, isn't it? So let's do that. So we've got a few connectors on the side here. We've got our general purpose IEC power connector. We've got this connector here which connects the front cover, and you've also got another connector on the front which is another RS232 port, and I understand that this is for driving a printer. It is actually a slightly different pin out on this connector though. I'm not exactly sure what you call that, but it seems to be like a higher density, although the pins do look quite long and vulnerable in there. So let's push this in here. And we're going to need a power cable, aren't we? So just check the voltage. It says it's 95 to 240 volts, and it works between 48 Hz and 66 Hz, and the fuse should be 1 amp. So we need a power lead, and we'll plug it in. Now everybody knows I don't really like reading manuals, because let's face it, that's just cheating, isn't it? Which is probably the main reason why I don't understand how to work most of my test gear, because I don't bother reading the manual. But I think we should just throw caution to the wind and plug it in and see what flashes. So here we go. Let's hope it doesn't explode, because it might, it might do. Come on, switch on. Oh, lots of lights. That's always a good sign. 89 to 92, the software. Oh, we've got a non-volatile memory failure. Default settings assumed. Well, I'm guessing that we're getting this memory failure simply because it's probably got a backup battery in it, or rechargeable battery or something of that nature. And I'm guessing that that battery's probably failed inside. I'm just interested to know if we can get at that backup battery that, we saw that the piece of equipment wasn't retaining its memory. So I'm assuming that's a backup battery fault. Now, I haven't got a manual for this piece of equipment, so I'm just guessing that this is going to release it. It is coming apart, but it's definitely a tight fit. Warning, high voltages within. Yep. Now I've just removed the cover from the equipment, and I hope you can see that it's got basically this copper strip that runs all along it, and this copper strip is kind of perforated and bent up, and this is an Emc Shield, so it's just designed to stop any electromagnetic interference from leaking out of the machine, and possibly also from leaking into it as well. So I'll bring you in for a close-up. Hopefully the camera will pick that up. So the purpose of these little copper strips, it's actually just to form a really kind of electromagnetic tight seal between this loose back cover and the main body of the equipment. And if we look at the main body of the equipment, you can see where these little copper strips have been pressing into it. And to be honest, I'm not planning on pulling this apart today. I was just hoping that we could see where the backup battery was. I think, oh yeah, spotted it. Okay. Don't know if we'll be able to see it very easily though. Let's see if we can bring the camera in. And it's a lithium organic battery. And I used to work on equipment many years ago that used to have these lithium backup batteries in it. And I'm guessing if we, if we take a measurement of that, it's going to be completely flat. I can't remember what the voltage is of lithiums. Is it 1.2? I don't know. I'm sure we can find out. Let's just take a quick measurement of it. Right, apologies if all you can see is my big head, but let's just take a measurement across this lithium cell. 0.0, have another go, obviously slipped off there. 0.079 volts. Well, I don't know what the voltage of a lithium is, I'm not exactly sure, I can't remember, but it's not 0.079 anyway, so we're going to have to replace that. So what we'll do is we'll try and order one of them and we'll place that on another video because because I want to. Even if I'm never going to use this piece of equipment, it's going to be quite good fun pulling it apart and replacing the lithium. But I'm not going to tear it apart any further than that today. I just wanted to have a quick look inside. Yeah, and the date on the battery is the 10th month 1991. So I guess we can't complain. It's not done bad, and it hasn't puked its guts all over the circuit board, so that's always a good sign, isn't it? So it says we can press any key to attempt to restart, so let's press a key. And, well, it's done something. So it looks like we've got some various buttons and things on here. I assume we can scroll up and down the menu, which we can. And it appears to be a similar arrangement to the other analyzer, the other protocol analyzer that we had, in that depending on which menu you have selected here, various options on these soft keys appear down here. So at the moment it's got the interface specified, and it's specified as V24, and I'm going to make the guess that because it's set to V24 at the moment, we've got a little light on here next to this V24 style connector. So I suspect if we press one of these other keys, it's going to light up one of these other interfaces. So look, what have we got on here? Well, let's bring you in and have a look. So at the moment we're set to this V24, interface type is set to V24, but we've got some different options here. We've got V24, V11, V11 unterm, V35 and X21. And if I look at the connectors on here, we have, well, I can see we've got one that says V35, we've got one that says V11. So let's try selecting a different one. Let's try the V35. and I don't know if you'll see that on the camera, but there's a little LED that's lit up here when I selected V35. So we'll select V34 again, and I think that LED will come on. So let's just select some of the various interfaces. So V24, we're on that at the moment. Let's select V11. And we had audible click there, and this lamp's come on there. We've got V11 untermed. What does that do? Well, it clicked, but I'm not exactly sure what it did there. V35 didn't click, but that LED lit up, indicating that this connector's active. What else have we got? We've got a connector called an X21. Is that going to do anything? Well, it clicked, but I don't see anything light up. And we'll go back to V24, because I think that's our normal interface that we would use. Now, I said earlier one of the reasons I bought it was because of all the lamps on it, and yeah, that was kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but not totally, because one of the other thing was missing is it did have a little LCD on it, but I really wanted to have some lights flashing when I was transmitting and receiving code on the RS-232 port, because I just thought it would be a better visual indication than trying to make out what was written on the little LCD. And you can tell quite a lot looking at data patterns and stuff like that. You know, the human eye and the human brain, it's brilliant at picking out patterns. And in many ways, I prefer to look at an LED flickering when I'm trying to diagnose something than, you know, try to look at an LCD. So I just thought that to actually have these lights here that show what's on the various serial communication pins, I just thought that'd be very useful. Sort of a volume control switch here. If I press it, everything's getting louder. And press it the down direction, it's quieter. Let's keep it a bit loud. What else have we got? We've got a push to talk button. I wonder what that does. Hello? Can you hear me? Don't know what that does. Print now. Well, we haven't got a printer, so select printer output. Don't know how we do that. We've got an auto setup button. Oh, it's got something called graphs. Let's press graphs. Oh, that's quite pretty. Don't know what it means, but it's very pretty, isn't it? Yeah, it says it's getting no data. So graphs. Yeah, no idea, but very pretty. What does the other button do? Stored settings. We can look at. Let's look at stored settings. Miscellaneous. It's 232 ports. Well, there's an option to do a self-test. That would be useful. Oh, there is. Okay, self-test. So we can do self-test. It looks like we can upgrade firmware, at least look at the firmware. I think we'll... let's have a look at the self-test. So press start and stop to start testing. Okay, start and stop. So it's failing test 213 or at 213, but I've actually got no idea what that actual test is, what it's failing on. It doesn't seem to tell me, apart from fail 213. I'm kind of hoping that that's something to do with the internal battery, but I've got no idea. What does the more button do? Firmware options. It says we've got an 8 megabit option fitted. Don't know what that does, but it's fitted. Time and date. Let's have a look at time and date. Okay, well it thinks that it thinks the time is 10:20, and it thinks it's the 28th of March 1989. I wonder if we can change that, because so that's not right. I've got about 6 clocks in here and none of them work, so let's try 5 to 7, which would be 18 increased digits. Oh, no, decreased digit. Okay, we've got that 1855. The date, let's go for decrease. Oh, Pressing all the wrong buttons here. 03. We're in August, aren't we? Next month. June, July, August. Let's try 17. I guess 17 will do, will it? Will it matter? Probably not. Okay, 3rd of October, 17. Yeah, that's probably fine, isn't it? So what do? We go up to the top and press run. And hopefully it's got them dates and times programmed into it. So maybe what we should do is switch it on and off for a second, see if it's remembered. I can find the switch, that is. So it's coming up with that non-volatile memory failure again. Time and date. And it's set out. Okay, so it's gone back to the previous original default setting, which is 28th of March 89, and a time of 11 minutes past 10. Quite impressed with this carry case. It has a really robust, kind of a rubber seal around it. It's a rubber seal all the way around it, and I can feel rubber seals all around everything. I mean, obviously this equipment wouldn't be submersible or anything like that, but they really have gone to a lot of trouble to protect it. So I wonder if this type of equipment was being thrown around. I don't know. I mean, even look at things like these aluminium clips on it, and they really are quite substantial, very nicely made clips. So what buttons haven't we pressed yet? We did the volume, we did the graphs. Let's see what results does. That's printed up another little graph. Don't exactly know why, but it has done. Basic results, all results, alarms, alarm seconds. Does that do anything? Data loss. Control circuits, that sounds interesting. Yeah, maybe not that interesting. Well, I think we've got to the point we got at previously where we need to plug a computer in and try and squirt some RS-232 goodness into it. I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling quite as excited about playing with this as I did with the other protocol analyzer we had. Don't know why, I'm just not really feeling the love. Shame. I'm quite intrigued by this push to talk button, because it looks as though it might have a microphone here. But why would you want to push to talk? Why would you want to speak into this analyzer? I mean, it does say it's a Datacom Analyzer. So is this thing capable of converting speech into a serial data string? I'm assuming there must be some standards for things like serial voice transfer or serial audio transfer. But if there is standards for it, I don't know what they are. So it does seem to have some features in common with the previous RS-232 protocol analyzer that we looked at. And I say the things it's got in common in that it's obviously got this connector here where you can actually install bits of link wires. So basically if you've got an unknown pin out of an RS-232 connector here, maybe it doesn't comply to the normal standard. What you can actually do is you can take, say you transmit pins on pin 1, what you can actually do is you can stab a jumper wire into pin 1 there, and then you would just basically put it over into pin 2. In fact, let's just demonstrate that. What I think we should be able to do is just jumper from there to, for example, there. So we could build up our own cable configuration without having to rewire the cable. And I'm guessing it has like a default where it uses the normal straight through configuration, and I'm guessing that's on them dip switches there. But if you want to wire, and these dip switches just short out the connections from one side to the other, so you can either use the default connections where you would have the dip switches in the closed position, and that's where these are all closed at the moment, or you could just basically click them down. Let's see if we can click that one down, do that, and then you use your jumper wire. I think it might be getting to the point where I've got to admit failure and disappoint all the men out there and actually go and get the manual. God, I just feel dirty. I shouldn't do that, should I?